I don't like to lose.
The current Star Trek brain trust is too brain dead to pursue any show ideas worth creating. That's right, I said it. Too many tears have been shed by fans and actors in new Trek shows alike for this to continue. My solution is to temporarily seize control and propose 5 shows worthy of Star Trek's legacy. But first, some ground rules. 1. Legacy characters may be used, but can be carefully and considerately recast where required. CGI has progressed a long way from the Valley of the Dolls era, but nothing replaces a living, breathing actor. 2. Star Trek and its signature components come first in the storytelling. Commercial success comes second. Ideally, a balance would be struck between creators and investors, but the essence of Star Trek and the ideas contained within the various pre-New Trek works must reign supreme. 3. Multi-season, limited series, or full-length films are acceptable as proposals. Some of these shows' ideas have been pitched before, but not how we are telling them. All of these shows have different formats, so their stories can be told in the best way. But the bottom line is the current brain-dead trust doesn't have the antimatter to boldly go where we are going. To best deliver my ideas to you, I've broken down this episode into 2 parts so as not to overwhelm you with my nerdiness. Unless you're into that kind of thing. Also, SciFi Cat is all for creating a better brain trust, so feel free to join the conversation in the comments. Meow at me with your new ideas for Star Trek shows, or if you think New Trek needs a course correction at all. I purr at the prospect of collaboration, so share your thoughts. That wraps the ground rules. Now onward with the shows.
Engage.
Pitch 1. Star Trek Colony 1. Given that human and non-human colonies were extant even at the time of the Next Generation, heck, even a treaty-threatening border war was fought over them, colonies clearly serve a purpose in the world of Star Trek. That being said, at some point, there once was a first wave of human colonization outside the Sol system. As Star Trek Enterprise recently experienced a resurgence in popularity, the era of this new series would be adjacent to, but later than, Enterprise's timeline. This show will follow 4 acquaintances from the same suburban town in Ohio. While they all either knew each other directly or through friends of friends, they are now all assigned to the same rotation on the Colony 1 ship. As Charlie Spotter, engineering ensign, Sari DeWitt and her cousin Leah Chambers, both science and medical offers respectively, and Franco Zayon, security enlisted, catch up pre-launch, the audience sees how the world has changed since Enterprise. While protein synthesizers are commonplace and have eased food shortages, full-blown replicators still do not exist.
One thing I will say about these replicators, they sure know how to make Klingon coffee.
The nascent Federation continues to wrestle internally, and the group worries that their only safety net may have holes. Terraforming is still so primitive technologically, the group agrees, they might as well just use shovels. Most unnerving is the delayed launch of a promised communication array that will keep their ship in touch with Earth. Despite their concerns, Spotter, as Charlie is best known, Sari, Leah, and Frank are excited to be assigned to this first Federation colony mission of its kind, to navigate into the Beta Quadrant and plant their flag on a highly biodiverse planet, all in hopes of finding new medicinal agents for genetic diseases, since any genetic meddling, even for health purposes, is prohibited, due to this guy. Our hero ship, Colony 1, is a unique class of ship, the Goodall class. The new starship design possesses a long, torpedo-shaped fuselage with short tapering aft section. Complete with the traditional 2 nacelle engines astride the dorsal surface, however, these too are elongated in style. Though equipped with more science labs than the usual exploratory ship, they have not sacrificed any tactical defense or sensory probes. Living quarters are tight but not unreasonable by Starfleet standards of the time. At least by now, you can have your own room without being a bridge officer. Designed to cruise at warp 4.5, the vessel can peak at warp 5 in emergencies, something the crew will find out quickly they will need with some frequency. That's because, as mentioned before, they are headed for the Beta Quadrant, specifically Klingon territory, and not those mutilated or geek chic-looking Klingons either, but proper-looking Klingons. Yes, that's much better. Due to the aggressive nature of the Klingon Empire, maps exist, but with limited survey data. As such, the Colony 1 will do its best to skirt the Empire's ever-changing limits during this part of the timeline to survey potential planets. Klingon encounters will serve as the primary antagonist at first. Colony 1 will continually attempt to outsmart or outmaneuver them and avoid conflict, but other times having to resort to diplomacy by other means. Meanwhile, our quartet of main characters are filling their roles along with the rest of the mostly human crew as they survey planet after planet, looking for the pre-designated threshold of biodiversity, but often running into claims of, you guessed it, Klingon sovereignty. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to address the elephant in the room. You mean this is a mostly human crew? Well, yes it is, because it's a colony ship around the time of Enterprise, and as we saw in the tragic two-part episode Demons and Terra Prime, that even though humans and Vulcans can theoretically make a baby, once the colony has been founded, the delicate matter of growing the colony is going to need to be addressed. Poor Leia often feels like she's being watched like a broodmare, and I speculate that even though this takes place a little later in time, based on the events of that two-parter, intermating is still not a thing yet.
She looks so innocent. It's almost possible to forget what she represents.
We still have Federation species on board. I mean, a long-haul colony ship would provide a fantastic opportunity to expand on our cultural understanding of Andorians and Tellarites, fellow first founders of the Federation who, visual canon-wise, are significantly wanting in development. Okay, back to the Klingons. And not just the Klingons. A shadowy adversary seems to be tracking them as well. They try to shake them whenever they are detected, but they always seem to reappear. Little do the crew know that they are actually navigating not the edge of the Klingon Empire, but a disputed corridor between Klingons and the Romulan Star Empire. So later in the show, when the Romulans pull a sneaky trick to get the Colony 1 to attack, and they finally reveal themselves, the crew know they are truly in a pickle. Romulans to the left, Klingons to the right. Here they are, stuck in the middle with, well, you know the song. Battling with these two in addition to facing unexpected alien encounters along the way. Because how much do we know about the Beta Quadrant outside of the Klingons and Romulans? I mean, empires include other aliens too that our ship will inevitably run into. As well as some classic cosmological horror, a fear Spotter struggles with throughout the show. Which brings me to the interpersonal stresses of being cooped up in a ship with a mission, but no definite destination. We will see these effects through the eyes of Leia, Sari, Frank, and Spotter in the different ways dictated by their varied assignments and ranks. Especially Frank, because he knows something the other three don't. That this is a two birds, one stone mission that only a very close circle know about. Once the colony is established, security has the mandate to embed within the communication array a spy satellite to listen in on Klingon and, now, Romulan chatter. Keeping this secondary mission a secret and how it compromises Frank's relationships is an ongoing subplot throughout Colony 1. So why is Colony 1 better than New Trek? Simple. It has a defined endpoint. Does Colony 1 inaugurate the colony or not? Following up, does the colony flourish or not? Is the secret listening post established or not? And those are just the primary plot and subplot arcs. Knowing where your story ends before it launches remains something New Trek iterations suffer from immensely. Loose plot threads are constantly left blowing in solar winds and are never tied off or joined together to later storylines. Unlike New Trek, Star Trek Colony 1 knows where their story is going. Pitch number 2, Star Trek, the Earth-Romulan War. limited series. I know. I can hear you typing in the comments already. The channels The Romulan War and Venom Geek Media have already tackled this subject with impressive precision, but a true comprehensive in-canon work still does not exist. This is a void I'm proposing to fill. Teased and alluded to since the original series episode, The Balance of Terror,
You and I are of a kind. In a different reality. I could have called you friend.
the events of the Earth-Romulan War stands as a huge nebulous gap in the proper timeline, and nerdy cinematic history abhors a vacuum. Though a useful narrative device it can be, but I digress. Some broad strokes are established referentially throughout other Star Trek series. The war lasted 4 Earth years, used nuclear weapons, and for all intents and purposes, combatants were blind to the other's physical appearance. Aside from a major Romulan defeat at Galordan Core and the ambiguous allusion to attack on Station Salem 1, the only other engagement discussed was the decisive battle at Charon, a victory for the United Earth, Tellarite, Andorian Vulcan alliance, and shameful defeat for the Romulans. From the ashes of this war emerges the ominous neutral zone between what would become the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire. Though a limited series, the show will cover both the micro and macro aspects of this war. Regarding the micro storyline, the show will follow 2 junior officers, 1 human and 1 Romulan, on the front lines. Lieutenant Commander Wexler, a human, has led several away missions, but none that have involved combat. His counterpart, Centurion Baral, has led teams clandestinely into United Earth space on reconnaissance using small tactical vessels, but no more. Both are troubled by never having seen the face of their enemy. Only knowing them by ship design and detached species names makes the enemy seem less tangible, and thus the junior officers feel more ambivalent towards killing them. Whether the men and women under them all feel likewise is yet to be seen. Audience will follow Wexler and Baral as they navigate the conflict. Building on the bones outlined before, the junior officers will have to demonstrate and follow real martial strategy. I love you, Deep Space Nine, but clearly your writers had questionable military consulting at best. Viewers will see how they cope with the immense stress of war and how it affects their relationships, because for combatants, every day could be their last. The second storyline deals with the macro perspective. It will take a bird's-eye view of the war involving all the top brass. That includes elected civilian leaders working with top military commanders. It will follow both sides equally, each trying to outwit the other. This arc will be ensemble in nature, providing dimension to what could otherwise be a flat narrative space. There will also be a political subplot as diplomats try to sound out conclusions to the conflict via back channels while the war rages on in the foreground. From storyline 2 and the subplot, we will see the primordial seeds of how the Federation as we know it comes to function.
Sheer fucking hubris.
We see the coalition of United Earth, Vulcan, Tellar Prime, and Andor start to integrate, understand their perspectives and unique strengths, and learn to work together due to the extreme pressures of the war that will require them to bury their hatchets to successfully win what appears to be the greatest existential threat they have yet faced. We will also illuminate the aims of the Romulans in inciting the war. Do they need a specific resource? Is it about realigning the galactic order of power? Do they want buffer space from an emerging United Earth? Or is this a war of outright annihilation? Based on what we know about them in canon, Romulans provoke a casus belli from their enemies. So why would they outright attack in this specific case? At this point, we simply don't know, but maybe this show can answer that long-burning question. Finally, the Earth-Romulan War would inevitably involve intermediary worlds caught in the fray, collateral damage, and its consequences. And that's what I want to stress about this show and how it is different from New Trek. It too knows where the story is going before it begins, but a good war story, or any story really, only hits home when there are consequences. crew members who we know for more than a minute dying and staying dead. None of this resurrected from the multiverse nonsense. Non-combatants will be affected, and this colors their view of who they want to win, even against who the audience roots to win, and may contribute to outcomes contrary to the goals of the protagonists. In short, to make this limited series great, the consequences have to stick and ramifications dealt with, not waved away or ameliorated with magic tech.